Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome to Sister Speak. Today you're joined with me, Lamisa.
Me, ma'am.
Me, Sonia.
Me, Fareen.
Yes, and it's lovely to have you guys all in studio. It's lovely to all be together here on the show. So our main topic today is going to be all about the impact of social media. But before we get into everything, Sonia, do you want to let everyone know what our show's about?
Our show is a platform for young Muslim women to talk about topics that they're interested in, such as current events and issues that might include religion, culture, politics, social media, Islamophobia, etc. Please note that all opinion/views are our own, and we respect all other similar or opposing views.
Yeah, exactly. And if you guys do want to get in touch with us to your thoughts, we do love to hear your guys' thoughts, and we have quite a few good topics to discuss today. Where can they get in contact, Fareen?
So you can call us on 101582481822, or you can WhatsApp us on 07779 481
Yes, so please do get in contact. We're also on Instagram, so you can send us a DM at Sister Speak. We're also live on YouTube, I believe, and on Facebook. So if you guys do have anything you want to say, leave us a comment. Just to let you guys know as well, we are recruiting. Mariam, do you want to let people know about our recruiting?
Yeah, so if you want to join our show or be a presenter, work on our social media team, if you want to do research, we have various roles in our team, and we're happy to accommodate if you have a certain interest for our show. Please do get in touch with Inspire FM on Facebook, or message us on our Sister Speak Instagram page, or you can email us at sisterspeak@inspirefm.org.
Yeah, so yeah, please do get in contact. We'd love to hear from you guys. Okay, so into the show, we're going to start off with our thoughts for the week. So this is just a segment of our show where we discuss something that we've learned from the week, an experience that we might have, or just rant a little. So who should we start off with? Let's start off with Fareen. What's your thought for the week?
My thought. So I think when I first started, a couple shows back, my first live show, I think I said that I wasn't. You guys remember I said that I wasn't getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
And I was getting like two. Yeah. So looking back at it, it was like, a month ago or something. Looking back at it, I was not doing that many things, and I was still losing so much sleep. So I was like comparing it to now. I'm doing more things, but I'm like time managing. So I'm managing my time better than I was that time. So at that time it was so bad because I used to basically didn't sleep at all, and now I'm sleeping my 8-9 hours, and I'm still doing a lot of stuff. So that my thought of the week is how important time management is.
That's something we all need to implement. I feel like we talk about it so much on the show, but it's hard to implement in your actual life. So I'm glad that you've managed to, alhamdulillah, put that in place. Hopefully I can follow in your footsteps.
I agree.
Wow.
For myself.
Yeah, just make a calendar and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay,
that doesn't work for me, to be honest. What works for you? How did you?
So it doesn't work. If I do a calendar on my phone, I know I'm not gonna look at it because I'm just gonna get distracted. So what I do is I print it out and then I write all this stuff and put it on my wall.
And I guess it seems a bit less able to edit that way because you've written it in pen, right?
Yeah.
And whereas on your phone you can just erase it straight away. That's not meant to happen.
It's like it's gonna look ugly if I
exactly. And that's the bigger, more scarier thing. Okay, it looking ugly.
I'm just forced to do it at this point.
All right, Sonia, what's your thought for the week?
Well, I'll just carry on with Fareen. I was going to say that I think doing all that stuff that you're doing made you tired, because you said at first you weren't doing much, but you never slept much.
Yeah.
Now you're doing a lot, but your sleeping schedule is quite good, right?
I think I was procrastinating a lot that time. I used to waste my time thinking, I have so much stuff to do that I never ended up doing it. That's why. Yeah.
See, okay, and now it's all working out for you.
Now it's all working out, yeah.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah. So my thought of the week this week, it's related to a arts commission thing that I'm kind of applying for.
Okay.
Yeah, and I thought of the week that I think I've done before, and it's kind of like try and pursue your passions and don't kind of give up.
Okay.
Mariam's smiling so much, which makes me so happy. So happy.
I'm with it.
Thank you. And so I did this application, and it was like really last minute, like when I tell you procrastination, but I was genuinely busy. But I did it on the night before, and I remember my friends asked me out, like, guys, should we go for dinner? And I said no. I actually said no, right? And I was like, no, I have this thing that I just need to finish, deadlines tomorrow and so on. Like, fine. And I was doing it, and I stayed up all night. I stayed up till 2 a.m. filling this out. Yeah.
It's one of them ones.
Yeah, it's one of them ones. And then the worst part was I read afterwards that it still has to be no more than 2 sides of A4.
Oh no.
I just made the font smaller. I made the font smaller, and I just like made some tables, be smart about it.
Yeah.
And you guys are like the first people I'm telling anyway, but I submitted it.
Yeah.
And today they got back and they said, you're through to the interview stage.
Oh,
Hello. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. And it's basically, so this whole process, interview, application and so on. And if you get it in the end, it's some money, it's a grant to carry out like any kind of art project that you wish to carry out, as long as it reflects Luton in some kind of way. I mean, is that not so up my street,
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
So hopefully I'm good at the interview and they're happy and then they give me the money.
Let's
So,
all
yeah.
pray for Sonia.
Thank you. So the thought of the week is basically don't give up and just keep trying. If you have a passion or interest in something, just try, just give up that little time like I did, just do the application, or if it's a fee, pay it, see where it might get you, because you might end up getting what you want to get.
100%. If you're not applying, you're definitely not going to get it. So
Exactly.
it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
It's worth a shot.
It's better to get rejected than not even try at all.
100%.
Love that.
100%.
And it's the nice thing is that you talked about this like 2 shares ago, that you wanted to do a film reflecting Luton, and now you applied for this grant, and now you're going
I
interview.
can't
So
believe it. I hope it works
very good
out.
news.
Thank you,
Alhamdulillah.
Mariam.
Mariam, what's your thought for the week?
I think my thought of the week is similar to Sonia's, especially just a reflection of the whole entire year. I've done a lot of things in terms of volunteering, and I feel like that has really accelerated my personal development, but also it's been a way for me to kind of exercise introspection in terms of what my interests are. I think a lot of the times I have younger cousins, and they talk about, oh, I don't know what I want to do. They're in university, that they're going to university, and it just made me think that I didn't know what I wanted to do until I started to venture into different opportunities.
100%.
And I think we are going to be talking about social media today, but social media has labeled a trajectory that we all need to follow. But I don't think that necessarily is the case, because you can evolve and adapt and change what you want to do according to the experiences you have. So my overall thought of the week is just keep trying new things. And second thing is that sense of fear that you have when you're trying something new, that fear perhaps may never go. But do you rather have that fear than not trying at all?
Yeah, wow, solid words of wisdom there. And I think me and Sonia were talking about this the other day in the car, that one of the comedians that we both see, you know, she started really, really late. And we were saying she probably had a whole life before this, and imagine switching career paths but it's something that you love, you know, and there's no time limit to pursue the things that you love. So yeah, very, very solid words of wisdom. Thank you for that, Mariam. Okay, it comes down to my thought for the week now.
Last but not least.
I don't know, I guess this thought for the week, what have I've seen a lot of things. It's coming up to the end of my uni. I guess I have resolutions for myself. Because we're coming to the end of the year, I have quite a few resolutions in terms of trying to sleep more, in terms of trying to be a bit more productive, having a bit more time management, organization. And I think it's good. I know Mariam this year has talked a lot about introspection and her favorite book, Atomic Habits, which I will never forget now. But yeah, I feel like what I want to do is kind of read a bit more about what small things I can do to slowly make myself procrastinate less or be a bit more focused, and that way hopefully work towards my goals. And it is about, I know you talk a lot about stacking habits as well, and that's something that I really kind of want to try and do. So yeah, that's my thought for the week.
Amisa, if it makes you feel better, I think that as I grew older and out of university, I stopped procrastinating as much. I was like you, believe me, I used to procrastinate so much. And I think it's because a lot of the times at uni you lose the passion for what you're learning as well.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like you love that topic, but because you're learning it day in, day out, you're like, oh, I have to do this coursework or this studying now.
Yeah.
But genuinely, I do feel like you manage your time better a little bit as you grow older. Well, I hope so.
Hopefully.
I can say that I feel like I do. You know, you learn as you go.
Exactly. I think I want to redo my thought for the week. It's finding the passion in the things that you're doing. Honestly, I've been thinking about this so much this week, actually. The fact that motivation is so important for you to actually go out and do what you want to do. And if you're in kind of the same situation for a very long time, you kind of forget that. And even if someone is reminding you, it's really hard to kind of ignite that fire again, because once it's out, it's kind of out. But I feel like it's small experiences. Like I do remember this week, like I'm lucky that I applied something, and just the prospect of doing it is kind of what's making me feel like, yeah, this is the reason why I started this. So it's kind of a mix of what you guys have said, like apply for something new, apply for something that can maybe reignite your passion, and then try and find the original reason why you started that, and that will help motivate you to get through it.
Yes.
So yeah,
And I just want to also say that you don't necessarily have to volunteer in things that you're currently pursuing. So if you're studying a certain discipline, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to do volunteering
Yeah.
according to that. You know, all of us have different interests here, but we're all doing radio.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to know that don't limit yourself in terms of opportunities according to what, you know, your discipline is. Try something different. That will give you greater depth in your experiences and your knowledge.
Yeah.
And even if you feel like maybe you're not as well, that experience could be something to develop that particular skill. So don't ever put yourself down and stop yourself from trying to apply for opportunities that might be there for you.
If that's okay.
Go on.
So we talk about a lot about opportunities and finding opportunities, but where can people find opportunities and how do they do that process in terms of looking for those opportunities?
So let me say something. Networking. And I know you're a big,
Oh,
you're a
that
big,
word.
you're a big advocate for networking. But people that you meet always are in different fields. They have their own story. They have their own positions. You can see a lot of the opportunities. You can find a lot of opportunities from people. I got into radio not because I saw the advert, but because someone told me about it who had already done a few radio shows at Inspire and thought that I was, you know, they wanted to recommend me for it. So I think networking is one of the big things. Social media is a huge tool you can use these days. Loads of people put their opportunities out on social media. What about you guys? What other ways do you think people can
I think like attending
opportunities?
the choices fair, that's where I met Mariam, and that's where she told me about Sister Speak, and that's where I wrote it down. I was like, okay, I'll see that. And like asking for help. I think if you want to do something, if you ask people, then they are gonna like guide you to where to go.
Yeah, and you know, on that, it stays in their mind. So even if they don't know how to help you, if anything does come up, they're like, oh, wait, I remember a girl who told me she was interested in this, and then it comes back to you because you've just planted that seed in their mind. You have to try.
Go look for it, I think. A lot of the times we're saying we're waiting for the opportunities to come through. Don't wait for an opportunity to come for you. If there's something you're interested in, you want to do that type of thing, go search online. You have all the resources. Back in like our parents' days, it was harder. People would have to go and like knock on people's doors. And you hear those stories. That's how people got a lot of jobs. You know, they walk up and be like, hello, I'd love to do this. Would you allow me to? Right now, a lot more easy. We can go up, we call up phones, put a bit of graft in, try and find the opportunities that you want. Because, you know, don't wait for them to come to you. They might never come.
And I feel LinkedIn is a really good tool for that in terms of networking, in terms of using it as a way to find people in similar fields that you get into, but also volunteering opportunities. I know someone that works in Parliament because they saw a job on LinkedIn. It's their first graduate job and they work with the Prime Minister. So, you know, you never know what resources there are out there. And like Lamisa said, I'm very strong in that your network is your net worth. And I really believe that. I know that's really cliche, but it's very, very true. The more people you know in different fields, and by interacting with them and being in their circle, the more you will learn and the more opportunities that will open for you. So for me personally, I definitely think you need to use LinkedIn as a example of trying to network, but also attending events. It just reminds me of when I was in university. I was really interested in writing and publications and poetry, and I remember I started to go to poetry readings by poets because I thought, well, if they're going to read their book, then they obviously have a link to publications houses. So I did that, and I went to a couple, and then alhamdulillah, I got published in a book which was quite crazy at that time. So
that is amazing.
Yeah, so I wrote a short story and it published. And it's so crazy because last week I went to a bookstore and I saw that book and I was like, this is so crazy. Like, there's a story right there. It's just it was a random bookshop next to King's Cross. So I was just thinking that made me really reflect, like, at that time, that was my entry to myself to go to these poetry readings, because at that time I was so interested. I haven't been to a poetry reading since then, but that was my interest at that time, and I took the onus on myself to do that. So I think you can evolve and change with your interests, but just be proactive at that time. Definitely. Because I think a lot of people think that you have to stick to one thing, but I think that's not the case. It's a cumulative kind of experience. You learn so much different things.
Just adding on to that, I was going to say, don't lose the drive and kind of push that they give you at school. So if we're talking about like competitions and, like you said, publishing a poem or a story in a book, in school, you have these opportunities come, like, they have these little letters go out and who wants to join this competition and so on. often once you leave, you see no one's providing it for you. Similar to what you said, like even the fare, they're not going to make you go. It's not going to be at your doorstep. You're going to have to go travel or look online and find that in job fair, volunteering fair, whatever it is.
Definitely.
So just keep that going, basically.
Yeah, the more
100%.
you like explore more stuff, then the more you're gonna be like, oh, I'm interested in this and this.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Okay, we got a lot of tips there on how to find opportunities, how to kind of build up your skill set. We are recruiting as well, so that is a perfect opportunity. So please do get in contact with us. But yeah, let's move on to our hot topic. So it's quite a topical one this week. Something that a lot of you guys have heard on the news. So I'm going to hand it over to Mariam to discuss further on that.
So we are going to be talking about the film Farha, which has been on Netflix. It's about the depiction of the Nakba. But before I talk about the Nakba, I'm going to ask Farin to just tell us about himself.
Yeah, so just a little of context for the people who haven't seen it. So this is from Fox Business. So they're saying that Farha is a Jordanian film set in 1948 and tells the story of a Palestinian girl who is locked in a room by her father to protect her from Israeli soldiers during the Nakba. She watches from her hiding place as the Israeli soldiers execute her family in cold blood while leaving her newborn sibling to die. Part of the backlash to the film is due to the filmmakers marketing the story as inspired by true events.
Yeah, so just on that note, just adding on about the Nakba and the context of it. So the Nakba took place in 1948. So this is according to Al Jazeera, which led to the forceful displacement and the exodus of the Palestinian population. So on that day, the state of Israel came into being, and the creation of Israel was created in a violent process which led to the expulsion of 100,000 Palestinians from their homeland to establish a new Jewish majority state as per the aspirations of the Zionist movement. So in terms of the film, Farha, as Farin, it revolves around a young teenage girl who watches the Zionist military kill her entire family. And if anyone has watched it, they will see that there's also a baby that is shot dead. It's quite visceral. So for those who haven't watched it, that's just a bit of a disclaimer. As Farin said, there has been a huge backlash from Israeli officials, but the Palestinians reject such criticism as they say that this is, as they say, is a depiction of true events. And I guess my question to all of you is, how do you feel about this film being featured on Netflix, as they say, it's depicted of true events?
I think it is such a necessary thing.
Absolutely.
Due to the fact that filmmaking itself is a process of storytelling. Filmmaking is about perspective. It's about it's about events that could have happened in someone's life, or it's about a story that they think. It's relaying a message, it's relaying feelings, and it's relaying how the director wanted it to do. I think that once we start selectively censoring which stories we can tell and which stories we can't tell, it's a dangerous position, because you kind of infringe upon the freedom of speech that we so actively try to protect in the West. But not only that, it's about the fact that these people have this story. This director has this version of this story that he or she wants to tell. Why should that then be said that because it goes against what we believe, we don't want it aired anywhere? That type of rhetoric and that type of sentiment wouldn't work anywhere else, and shouldn't work, because it infringes upon freedom of speech. So I think once you start selectively censoring bits of material, you take away the heart of what filmmaking is and the industry itself.
I totally agree with what Lamisa has said, and you worded it better than I ever could. But do you think that people, like, obviously they said the backlash came from it saying inspired by true events? So back to what you said it infringes on freedom of speech, and if that's the story people want to tell, they can tell. But what about that part where it says inspired by true events?
If it's inspired by true events, it's inspired by true events. Obviously, I think it might be a bit difficult for me to comment, because I am not of either side of this particular issue.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? And I feel like our emotional attachment to the whole situation is a lot lower than anyone who has anyone involved in that situation.
Yes, yeah.
As a person who's watching it from the outside, I feel like if something is inspired by true events, for me, I guess the emotion side is stripped out of it. It's their story and they're saying it's inspired by true events. Then
according to the director of this film, Jerusalem, she says that this is based on actual events, which she first heard about from her Palestinian father. And also, if you see in social media, a lot of the Palestinians say that their grandmas say this is exactly what they witnessed. So for them, it is a sense of ability to actually find that their story is being heard. It's the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians and the silencing of their voices. For them, this is a huge milestone for them in terms of getting their story out. So personally, for me, I feel that, as Lemisa said, it's completely necessary for Palestinians to have their voice, because if you see even the Palestinian movement in, let's just talk about universities, often Palestinians are silenced, or their activism for Palestinians, especially in terms of human rights, is misconstrued as anti-Semitic. I think that's hugely problematic, because it disables Palestinian students, or students who want to talk about human rights from talking about things that are really important to them. But also, if you think about the kind of atrocities that take place, really emotionally charged. And I think if we can't speak about things that are taking place in one end of the world, but there's more of a understanding for another part of the world, then I don't see the consistency. Yeah, I think it's really unfair.
I think that's the main part of it all. It's the lack of consistency. If we're gonna say we protect freedom of speech, we have to protect everyone's freedom of speech.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of the backlash also came the fact that it was streaming on such a big platform, so it was going to like a lot of people, and that's why they didn't want the true events to be out there.
I think that everything, I agree with what everyone said, but also what you mentioned, Lamisa, there should be consistency throughout. So if we're talking about, I guess you could say, violent films that depict true life events, or films related to war, or the Exodus, as Mariam put it, all of this, we've had these themes for ages. You can go down films, and there's so many different films that depict this in so many different countries. It happens in the West, you could say. We could talk about World War One, we could talk about World War Two. There are so many films. Even in Bollywood, you have films that show the partition, and so on and so on. So if somebody who has, say, for example, I'm going to give that as an example. A lot of us, our parents, our grandparents, have lived through the partition. And so if they have given their experience now and told their child, who is a filmmaker, this is my experience, and then you go on and make a film, then like you said, you're inspired by true events, it's inspired by true events. That's all you can take, someone's word for it. You cannot then further question that, because then we can question everything.
Yeah.
We can be critics for everything. And yes, there's always film critics. That's normal. That's the nature of film and media. But when you try to question someone's honesty and integrity and their storytelling, that's a bit, you can't really, the word propaganda has been used a lot. It's like, well, we can say everything is propaganda.
That's what I mean. Yeah, everything is propaganda. And it comes down to that selective censoring. We can't then selectively censor what we do want to go out and what we don't. That's just filmmaking and art in general. Whether you write a book, whether you make a film, whether you do a radio podcast, a song, anything, I think art is different in the sense that it is a person's so emotionally
it's going to be subjective. It's biased.
Yeah.
It's from a certain person.
Yeah.
Hardly ever is it completely objective and neutral.
Yeah.
Even science documentaries can be biased.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's narrating history, I think it's really important that we give those spaces. For example, the Nakba took place in 1948, but only 3 years before that, the Holocaust took place. And so the depiction of Anne Frank and her story is institutionalized in our curriculum. We learn about it, we empathize with it, but the Palestinians don't get that same kind of justice in terms of their voices being heard. So I think we need to actually think about history holistically and think about, why is one group of people being positioned above another?
And I think that in terms of history, the only way we can, like you said, get the full scope of events that occurred is from various articles and sources and kind of sayings of what people experience. We can't just take it from one side. You can't take it from one side, not the other, and vice versa. Like, it has to be everyone's collective kind of saying on what happened at that time, and then you can kind of piece together a picture of what actually occurred. To allow one party to say what they want and not allow another party to say their end of the story is just not fair at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think we should be really critical in terms of how we consume this information from social media, or just consume social media at whole. Because why isn't a lot of these stories put in mainstream media? We should be questioning this. It's not, and I think this whole essence of a censorship. We need to really understand, where does this come from? Where does this derive from? And what are the repercussions of this in our own understanding of what injustice is, and how we perceive human rights to be.
Whether it's a selective thing only applying to a few people, or whether we actually believe in true human rights that are there for every single person. So yeah, very interesting hot topic, and we actually covered a load of various sentiments from that. The fact that we have freedom of speech, everyone should be allowed to put across their story, no matter what that is, and in a way that, in any way that they seem fit. Okay, so we are coming to the end of the first half of our show. Very quickly, I do just want to put out our recruitment advert once again. We are looking for presenters, social media people, anyone who's interested in producing. So please do get in contact with us for that. So yeah, inshallah, we'll see you at the next half of our show after the break.
This program will continue after the break. Continue listening to Inspire FM. Inspire FM.
Inspire 105.1 FM.
We are the world's best radio station. Tune in now at Inspire FM to get a thrilling sensation only on 105.1 FM.
Top tips for this winter on Inspire FM. As winter approaches, the days are much shorter. This makes it easier for students to use motivation in studying. When doing schoolwork, make sure you're in a relaxed and bright environment. This will boost your productivity and help you focus more. You can even tune into Inspire FM to listen to your favorite nasheeds while studying. For more winter advice, stay tuned to Inspire 105.1 FM or visit our website, inspirefm.org.
Looking for a law firm that doesn't treat you like you're just any client and charge you excessive fees? At MB Solicitors, we're not just interested in your case, we're interested in you. Our lawyers work to get you the right result with personal injury, immigration, family, and civil litigation services. At MB Solicitors, we won't treat you like a client, we'll treat you like the client. So call Luton 415-836 or visit mbsolicitors.com to arrange your free consultation today.
Legrave Heating Supplies. With over 20 years of experience, we're the largest independent plumbers merchant in the area, specialising in all types of plumbing and heating, as well as combination boilers and mega flow cylinders. Whether you need a new bathroom or a complete new heating system, LHS is the place. Come along to our brand new bathroom showroom at Unit 1, 3 Chorlend Lane, Luton, to see the latest range of quality bathrooms. Or log on to legrave.net. We're an Interparts approved stockist for all genuine spares. Our new store in Bedford is now also fully opened. Legrave Heating Supplies. Call Luton 84 86 88.
After burying the deceased, Prophet, peace be upon him, would say, ask for forgiveness and firmness for your brother, because he is now being questioned. Abu Dawood 3221.
Attention all electricians, builders and DIY enthusiasts. Capital Electrical Wholesalers are now open in Luton. It's a fully stocked branch with experienced staff on hand to help with all your electrical needs. In Greenwood, Tottenham, Richmond and Ashton. Capital Electrical Wholesalers only stock the biggest names, including JCC, Saxby, Knightsbridge, Hamilton, MK, Wilex, Hager, Aco Smoke Alarms and many more. That's Capital Electrical at Unit M, Kingsway Industrial Estate. Call 01582 801122.
Hello Luton. We're back for the 7th year. Join me, Atif Nawaz, as well as Ali Official, Omar Regan, Imran Yusuf and Sabine Sadiq at the Comedy Takeover Show in support of our winter emergency appeal. Gather your friends and family and get ready for belly laughs in support of a great cause. Grab your tickets now at humanappeal.org.uk or call 0161 225 0225. See you there.
Inspire FM is excited to release a new show, Luton Weekly, an exciting new segment bringing you weekly updates from all over Bedfordshire. Join me, Anesa, as I bring you the latest in our community each week. Do you have an exciting story or event you would like to share? If so, reach out to us by email on news@inspirefm.org. Luton Weekly, airing every Friday at 5:30 p.m. only on Inspire 105.1 FM.
From the studios of Inspire FM, the time is now 6:30.
Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to Sister Speak. Today you're joined with me, Lamisa.
Me, Sonia.
And me, Mariam.
Yes, just want to let you guys know today's show is not a live show. This is a pre-record, but yeah, we are usually live Wednesday 6 p.m. Okay, so today's topic is Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to Sister Speak. I'm not entirely sure what that was. We had a bit of a technical difficulty. But yeah, we are live today, just to reiterate. We're all here in the studio. So yeah, okay, we're going to talk about our main topic now, which is the impact of social media. So yeah, impact of social media, cool. We're going to start with the main question first of all. Yeah, sorry about that. We're going to start off with the first question. What struggles do you guys think that people go through daily, teenagers go through daily in real life? And then does it differ? Do we see this on the internet? Actually, is something I want to ask.
We have a teenager in the studio.
We do have a teenager in the
So this is exclusive to you.
Okay, I read the question for myself. Okay, so there's so many things. First, just literally like having a social life, because into your teenage years you want to like make friends and stuff, and then you also have body image issues and you're feeling secure, I think in my experience now that I'm a teenager, I overthink stuff so much, so that's how I was. So, and then on the internet I think you get judged a lot nowadays, and there's a lot of people that feel the need just to comment on your how you look, what you do. And just I feel like also in these years you feel the need to like also follow trends all the time. So that's in my experience now what I'm struggling with, kind of.
Okay. How does that differ from our experiences? Not that we're like fossils.
I know. Right? We're ancient. I think for me, when I was a teenager, I really didn't know. We were struggling to find who you are. Like you know who you are, but how are you going to outwardly show what and who you are? And it feels like there's so many genres and subcategories of people and identities, and there is, right? And I think social media has definitely shown us more like relatable content too for a lot of people. Like if you felt like you're a weirdo, you have certain traits that you think, oh, no one's gonna like the same films I do, suddenly there's a group of people that are the same as you. If not in real life, there is on the internet somewhere in real life across the world. But definitely I do remember thinking, how am I going to portray who I am? Like I'm all over the place. I'm such a different, I don't know. I thought, other issues. What do you think, Mariam?
I think for me, what I struggled with when I was a teenager was living by the notion of what's good and bad. And at that time, those notions I disagree with now, because it was framed as a religious thing in terms of what is good and what is bad, which I felt that I had to dilute my character, especially as probably if people do listen to me, I'm very big on advocacy. And I think I had to really compromise my personality and characteristics, because usually being quiet was deemed as good, or just being just following all the rules, in sense of not even the rules, just the specific trajectory that we're told that we have to go. And if we divulge in any capacity, then we're seen as someone that's corrupt or someone that is just challenging the status quo. So for me, I think what I really was contending with was with notions, not from my parents, but from school, from when I used to go to these spaces where there was religious teacher, quote unquote, who used to say these ideas of is good and bad. And I that really kind of tainted my ability to make friends. It really did, because when I went to, when I started to go to sixth form, they told me that it's very easy to become corrupted if you go to certain sixth forms, etc., etc. So it was very outlandish and kind of big loaded statements that I completely disagree with, and they're very sweeping, but that really impacted me in terms of my development, because I really isolated myself because I didn't want to be corrupt. And that's something that I internalized, and only once I left sixth form, so for 2 years I isolated myself, and because that fear of being being influenced negatively, of being labeled as corrupt. And the sad thing is that I didn't come from my parents. They came from school, which is really, really bad. So then when I came to university and, you know, those years has passed, you know, I was quite moved away from that school aspect. I started to find myself a little bit more, and I started to discover what I was kind of passionate about. But then again, I think it was a combination of just internalize people's concepts and just really living it. So those are the struggles that I had.
Wow.
Yeah, like
Go ahead.
like the constant need to like fit in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all of you guys have talked about somewhat different things that you struggle with, but all of us have struggled with that at some point. And it just goes to show so many different things are going on during that teenage period. In terms of social media, I know, Sonia, you said that people, you know, who perhaps felt kind of now have people that they can relate to. In terms of on the internet, I mean, that's one of the good things. Can you guys think of any other good things that social media has done in terms of the impact on teenagers?
I think it gives sometimes, again, a small good thing.
Yeah.
It gives you a space to express yourself. 'Cause a teenager, a lot of the times, is about expressing your feelings, expressing your thoughts, expressing your ideas, but you don't have a space to do it and you don't know how to do it. So sometimes social media is a good platform for that. So if you want to do something or if you want to create things, that's the platform to do it on. So that is a small other positive for teenagers.
It gives you a bit of an outlet.
You know
right?
what? Teenagers always need somewhere to go and hang out and do something. And I know this because of like looking at like youth work and things like that. You always think, what do where young people go? They have nothing to do. But when you have social media, which is free and accessible, no offense, Farine,
none taken,
free, accessible, they don't mind staying at home and going on your phone or whatever it is and maybe making a video online or starting, you know, something online. But I'm not always saying it's completely positive, but it gives you that space for youth to hang out, basically.
I guess following on from that, you said that it's a place where people can talk about their experiences and stuff. And I guess we've seen online a lot, people do talk about their experiences and they talk about the things that they learn and they give advice. I guess one question is, do you guys think that advice should be given publicly on social media? What do you think about that?
I think it's what you subscribe to. So it's you being able to choose what you want to follow and what you want to consume. And I think we talk a lot about social media being a symptom of many problems, but actually I think it's more of a manifestation of the problems that we already had. So the idea of having a individualistic society already existed before social media. The idea of competing with one another to reach certain milestones financially already existed. The idea of having, you know, certain labels on how a person should look already existed, but I think social media just amplified that. So I think it is all about how we interact with social media and how we, you know, we need to learn how to pause and stop and know what when it's affecting us negatively, but also, you know, it's about input output, you know, what we're contributing to social media. For example, this radio show is on all social media platforms, Spotify, Facebook, just to let you know. But it's you know, hopefully it's a force for good. And I think it's about how we utilize social media. But at the same time, you know, even personally for me, like I do become quite addicted to social media at some point where I really have to delete social media, especially LinkedIn. I think there's just so much information going on and I consume it and I just feel like refreshing and reading. But it's actually overstimulating my mind. And I think I have this rule about we've learned how to use it in a balanced manner. And I think this should be actually introduced in schools. Technology is used for education. And so therefore, not only do we, you know, encourage young people to use, you know, smart boards and, you know, certain apps for their learning, we don't actually talk about the well-being aspect of it and learn how to stop.
Yeah.
I love how she said smart boards. So that's such a, I feel like they don't even use smart boards anymore. They whip out, you know, the tablets and everything. Everyone has their own, so we're from a different generation.
You know, I think with advice, if you put yourself out there publicly, it's a bit dangerous because if it's fine if you can take it, I feel like, because if you put yourself out there and then someone comments on your looks or you're wearing something that choose one. They don't really care about how it impacts
Yes.
others.
Yeah.
So then everyone's gonna see one comment, and then I see it a lot. Then they see one comment, and then all the comments are the same thing, just repeating it all the time. And there's really no positive. Sometimes there's no positive like comments in that, and it really impacts the person that's actually doing the video or whatever they post.
Yeah.
I think carrying on with what Farine said, there's no accountability now.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you are behind a screen, but also if you're the person giving the advice, how often do you go and research that person and make sure they're qualified to give that advice in the first place? I mean, on some ways you can say like us here, right now, it's just our opinions. We've never said it's factual. We've never, said this is the advice, take it. This is everything, we have said it's our opinions, but often you just, like you said, on social media, you're just scrolling, you hear something, that's it, you've taken it now. You don't know where that's come from, who that's come from, why you subscribe to them, why are you following them, consuming that information. So you have no accountability. And if that person wants to shut up shop, delete their account that day, they can. And then what? You've now taken this info that you might not from, it could be negative.
Yeah.
You're never going to find them. They've shut their account now. Never going to find them. They're not held accountable. So it's a sticky one, that question.
In terms of, so now we're getting on to a bit about the impact that it has on people in terms of negative comments, things like that. With regards to how the internet has actually impacted people with their self-esteem, what do you guys think about that?
I actually went through a phase where I thought social media was everything. Like I had to be everything. Like I don't think it's a bad thing when it's something that's healthy for you. I feel like so when you try to follow like I don't know unrealistic like beauty standards, I used to do that a lot. And wait, sorry, what was the question?
I mean, what do you think the impact it's had on people and their self-esteem?
Yeah, so it impacted me a lot. But then there's also some like good things about it. So with that, I went through that phase where I was like I had no confidence in myself, and I just try to follow everything that was on social media, try and fit in. And then, but with social media, then I started gaining more confidence. I don't know if that makes sense. Like it was such a weird thing. It was like a balance from like the bad thing, following so much stuff, and then the good thing of like, I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So it was negative at first, but then it helped you grow almost.
Yeah, because you see a lot of people doing this, like they look like you and you like relate to a lot of stuff and you don't think, oh, I'm a weirdo, this is the only thing I do.
So it kind of depends on what you're seeing. I think that's one thing we've come to. But also this idea of comparing yourself to others. I think a lot of us will see people on social media and it's that instant, they either look like that or their life is like that, or they're organized like that and I'm not, so I feel like that way that can impact your self-esteem quite a lot because you're comparing yourself to someone.
Yeah.
And whether you compare yourself to someone online or in real life, it doesn't matter. Comparing yourself to other people is not always the best way to go about it. But the trap we fall into is on social media, people are so they're so apparent all the time. Wherever you're scrolling, you will see a person and you're taking in that information about them, you're forming your own opinions about them. And if you compare yourself, sometimes it can't be helped. So I think that's where the impact on self-esteem
representation is everything, though.
Yeah.
So like you said, you're seeing a person there, but it could be bad. Exactly. It could be someone so relatable. It could be someone normal, quotation mark. It reminds me of a long time ago, there was a Disney princess and she was, I'll just say who it was Anna from Frozen. Okay. And she just woke up from bed and her hair was all fluffy and I remember this going viral almost because it's the first time a Disney princess was shown like in her pajamas almost. And people were like, wow, she's so relatable. She's the first Disney princess I can relate to and so on and so on. It's a bit of a joke and trivial, but it just goes to show that like, if we had that, which we sometimes do, representation of normal people doing normal things, looking normal, no makeup and so on, it sometimes does make you feel better. You're like, oh, like that's kind of cool to see that some people are more like me and I'm not an outcast.
Yeah, I think not many people do it because with social media, you want to put like the
your
best
highlights.
The best part of you is like if I'm like taking a picture of I'm doing my work or something, that you arrange the pens in a certain way. So I think so if you try to adapt that to like real life, it's not really like a good thing because everyone on social, like not everyone, but they try to put whatever is best. They take like I do this like 50
it makes sense to do that, but I think you should take everything with a pinch of salt. Just one more thing I want to add on the self-esteem thing. So social media opens you to things that you might never have known before, seen before. So like recently, this is a thing where you can, obviously we know about we're talking about beauty now, like things that you can get done to your face, Botox, things like that. And it's like a new, well, to me, it's new because I've never seen it. And I haven't seen this in real life, but see, social media has made me see you can get your chin done now. And that's a very normal thing. Mariam's making a face like, what did you just say, Sonia? You can get anything.
You can get like your jaw chiseled.
So chin, literally just this little bit of chin here. You just get more filler put in and it becomes more pointy and it points downwards. Okay?
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Like filler. I think you meant like surgery.
No, filler. so what that means is that it's more accessible to normal people. Like you can go get it at lunchtime and go back to work. That's what I mean. No surgery, nothing. Just a filler. Now, you say it's ludicrous, but it's normal to a lot of people and they like it. This is something that people do. And, you know, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but what I am saying is that it's surprising to me, very, very surprising, and something I would have never seen if it wasn't for social media. And so if you're going back to self-esteem, if I keep seeing it now, I'm going to start thinking, is that something I need to do? Do I need to now get my chin done?
Okay, so on that point, do you think that social media kind of impresses worries and concerns on us that we wouldn't have had otherwise?
I think, like I said before, it just amplifies what we already feel, but it's just it's just easy to disseminate those fears and worries and concerns. Everyone has, for example, you know, people do struggle with this, but now they have social media platform to project that, or they would amend those changes. Like Sonia
I don't think that's true though, because I love my chin.
No,
but seeing that, I don't even have a fear of my chin. You know what I'm saying? But seeing that suddenly puts an idea in my head.
That's true.
Like it's a new thing. It's almost like a trend, and you think, is that something I should do or have to do?
But then, would you say that you are completely confident in yourself that
in my chin?
In your chin.
Yeah, so I'm not going to get it done.
Nothing is going to sway you in terms of you're happy in yourself. So then that seeks the questions of how happy are we with ourselves, and I think another thing is it might not even be that. It could be that we live in a society that is so enslaved to our desires, and so this is just another aspect of desire that people are trying to fulfill.
But then could you say that these representations were there just in different formats? So
I think that's what I was going to
TV,
come along. So
film.
kind of Mariam's point, where our existing kind of issues in society are amplified and more easily accessible, whereas before maybe we would have seen it in a magazine and a lot of us wouldn't have picked up a magazine, so maybe we wouldn't have seen it. So it's not as accessible, but the problems are still there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or it would have been on TV or you know, other forms of media. I guess social media is just something that has become so integrated into our lives, and you know, I didn't open a lot of these accounts until I would say quite late. It's not like I had it from my early teens, but even then, it's only been like a few years, and I'm on these apps all the time, so it's so easy to get addicted. Okay, next question. So I guess Sonia's talked about the fact that she's now had this worry about her chin.
Okay.
The social media has enabled her to think about things that maybe she wouldn't have usually thought about. Do you guys or Mariam, do you have any experiences where social media maybe has made you doubt yourself in any way?
I think you can say sorry, but every single person in this room, even for a split second, we can go around, everyone's doubted themselves once because of social media. Fact?
Fact. Yeah. In what ways do you think then on the counter side, social media has enabled you to strengthen yourself?
Well, the first thing is from radio. If you want to join the radio, you can message us on sistersspeak and Inspire FM. But in other as well, like when I started sistersspeak, I really didn't want to be on social media because I was so scared of putting my face out, and I don't even recall why. I'm quite a private person, and which seems quite ironic that I'm on a radio show, but there we go. I just felt that being on social media and exposing myself and exposing the way I look and the way I speak is going to be open to criticism, and I didn't want that criticism.
Interesting.
So in terms of strengths, this radio show has enabled me to overcome that fear. Well, I am talking about myself, my interests, and I'm happy within myself to be able to articulate myself on what I feel passionate about. And again, I think I've come to a point where I'm very private. I don't like to showcase myself on what I'm doing, and I don't know, I think that's something I'm still discovering. Where's that balance in I want to celebrate the things that I'm doing, but at the same time I don't want to showcase it too much. So I think I'm on that process of understanding where I stand in this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what also impacts a lot is the people you surround yourself with,
100%.
because I don't think I'm a private person at all. Like I like to, like, show my life on social media and stuff. But what I used to do is the people that I surrounded myself with, I was really scared of what they would think that I was posting was not up their standards. So what I used to do is I used to like just pick like 2 friends and just post my stuff when I know that the stuff I want to post I wanted to show to other people. But because I thought that in real life, like, oh, I don't think this is, then that kind of criticism I couldn't take. So that's why I just like put myself in like 2 people in, like, I don't know, my private story or something.
Okay, I see. I guess on your guys' point, I want to ask, in terms of opening ourselves up to criticism, do you think that it's good in that sense? It allows you to talk to people of different ideas.
Sorry, I think people are too bold already. Just on the back of what Farine has just said as well. Like, why are you commenting on someone else for no particular reason? Like, if it's a film that we spoke about earlier in the show,
So I mean
completely
more
makes sense.
along those lines, like on issues or things that are going on in the world, lines of thought, rather than personal attacks on people and their things.
But that's what people do on social media.
Yeah,
That's
for them it's just a simple comment, like for the day they're scrolling, they're like, oh, I'm just gonna comment this. But then for that person, it's so it impacts them a lot.
I think in terms of Lemisa's point, I think for social media is positive in terms of that it gives marginal voices a voice and it mobilizes change. The things that we want to be identified or talked about on mainstream media, if it's not there, then social media will make that loud noise until to the point where the mainstream media will start to talk about it. So I think for marginal voices, in the good is a good aspect of social media is that it gives us a platform to speak about things that we're interested about, passionate about, things that are affecting us that might not be typically talked about.
Okay. I guess I want to talk to you guys about the fact that people are too bold on social media. So we've understood that maybe because it's a screen and there's no accountability for it. In terms of the deeper impact, why do you think that? Because Farine, you said you see so many of the same comments under a single post. Why is it that people kind of say the same thing under one thing that's already been said and it's negative, and they know it's going to have a negative impact on the person?
I think it goes back to the trying to fit in. If you come in something completely different, then everyone's gonna come at you. So that's the thing. They get influenced by, if there's a comment with the most likes and it says like one opinion or something, then everyone's gonna comment the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are easily influenced.
What would you say to teenagers who are going through that? Because especially during teenage years, I feel like that social anxiety and that fear of not being able to fit in is very high.
I can't tell any teenager not to comment. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
but
yeah, of course.
It's the other side. People who are posting and putting yourself out there, or anything you're doing, you have to really take things with a pinch of salt, and you have to be brave as soon as you start that social media, whatever you're doing there, journey. Even if you are just doing something like radio, for example, you have to be open and ready to this. But just be careful. To be honest, I don't know. There's no advice you can give to someone. Schools should train students on how to use social media.
For young people, just on that point, I think for young people, if you are going to use social media, don't ever stay silent about it. Speak to your loved ones and speak to a parent or a guardian or someone that's older than you, because you won't be able to foresee the kind of negative aspect of that's happening on you, but also the danger of social media. So I think for young people especially, it's really, really important that you tell someone if something's making you uncomfortable. And even if it's not being uncomfortable, if you can't share that thing, then you need to think twice. Why can't I share that? Why can't I tell a family member? Why can't I tell a friend that this is being said to me? You need to kind of reflect on yourself, because you need to protect yourself. There's so much dangers on social media, and the government is actually doing a lot trying to mitigate this. So I think we all should actually collectively have this responsibility, especially for our young people, to be safe online, because there's a lot of dangers out there and it's not talked about enough.
Do you think there's a space in the curriculum, especially how large social media is and the kind of size of time that we give it? Do you think there's a space in the curriculum to actually teach about how to go about social media?
No one was ever taught this. My sister is in school now. You were taught.
Yeah, in Spain we used to have a lot of talks about this kind of stuff, because I feel like my primary school, I was the best primary school. They used to have so many talks, and their like little slogan was like changing the world. So so they used to teach obviously the subjects that were in the main, but they used to teach how to like not to deal with bad things, how to do social media in really their teenage years. So from that I really like learned a lot. And they used to do this talks with like, I don't know, skip like biology lesson just to do these talks because they are important, just as important as the subjects.
I mean, Sonia doesn't agree. Why would you not agree?
No, I mean, I think it's amazing that they did that.
Yeah.
I didn't.
What are your reasons not kind of going through with it?
No one taught me.
Okay.
No one taught me, and no one's teaching my sister now, but she's in school in the UK.
Yeah.
Then it's not in the curriculum, and it absolutely should be.
Oh, it should be.
It should be. No, I think it should be. It's so important. I was in shock. Like, wow, Farine, that's amazing. I wish they did that here.
Does the schools do PSHE still?
Hardly. Very, very. It's not mandatory. Like, it's not a GCSE, and it's just kind of swept under the rug.
I think fundamentally that's one of the most important subjects: how to live in society. And
So I was going to say, I know we're coming towards the end of our show, but maybe next time, social media, if you live in it too much, people forget how to live in the real world. And we can talk about that next time, because people need to remember it's not real social media. It's all just on that screen, and shut it down. Go outside and live.
And I know Sonia's turning her social media every weekend, which I'm trying to do as well. So yeah, it's a good way to try a moment, and we need to realize our lives aren't on the screen.
Touch grass.
Exactly. So yeah, we are coming to the end of our show this week. I'm glad that we were all able to be in studio and actually have a really good discussion. I'm glad you guys. I'm glad I made it. I'm usually not here, but yeah, alhamdulillah. We'll see you next week, inshallah, where we discuss a very interesting topic too. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Inspire FM on 105.1 FM. Coming up next, weekly live learning. Continue listening.